We cannot have in our midst people who procure certificates, fake certificates, and come to compete with our students graduated from universities and polytechnics through their sweat. Some spending 4, 5, 6 or more years. And going out to compete with people who simply prefer certificate right here without going anywhere for a lot of them. So what the FEC now approved is through the data which NYC has, about 21,684 students are parading fake certificates from the Benin Republic, obtained between 2019 to 2023. Togo, about 1,105. What the federal government approved is that any person, the federal government will issue a circular to all employers, whether it is public or private, to fish out anybody with certificate from these institutions.
Well, there you have it, the minister making the comments, of course, regarding the fixed certificates. And this morning we're going to be having a conversation talking about the impact on labor market as federal government approves sack of workers with invalid certificates. Well, let's begin the conversation talking about, first of all, what prompted the Nigerian government to investigate the validity of certificates from universities in Cotonou and, of course, in Benin Republic. Let me start with you, Dr. Kenny.
Thank you very much. You know, what could have prompted such is a kind of a betrayal between two people, victimization between people are witch hunting one another. Because I felt now that if you don't know much about somebody, you won't come out. And if there's nothing at stake, you won't come out. But that suffices to say, issue of fake certificate is not new in Nigeria. It has been in existence for as long as I know, for as long as my days in the university. It has always been. Now, the issue now is this. The crave for certificates is what is causing the problem in Nigeria. People have people nearly turn people who have gone to university more or less like a demigod. I'm suggesting now that, look, we have craved so much for this certificate. That's why we have all of this quite a lot. Suffice to say, there are two academic pathways. There are two pathways you can go. You can go on vocational, you can go on academics. And what really happened now is that what has happened is you go across our public sector, public service. That is where we have quite a lot. And also our legislation, what I would say is that they should not limit it to the pay from Togo from 1999 to date. Then don't let us limit it to it. Let's carry out forensic audit across the public sector. Let's carry out forensic audit across the legislative house. Because if you look at what we are getting at the two, these are the two agents, these are the two arms of government that we spend quite a lot of money. You can imagine how much we put into public service. What is the quality of the output for public service? Yeah. Suffice to say, if you go to our legislative house, are you talking of lower house, upper house? Nearly everybody has issue with that certificate. Nearly, and we're beginning to look at the case. Is it not right time for us to criminalize this? Now you can even see proliferation of doctors. It's becoming more embarrassing. Not only limited to Togo and Benin, quite a lot of people will go to universities abroad, mushroom universities. Some of them is a private university that is not recognized, that is known. And at the end of the day, they will spend 1 or 2 years, they will bring PhD, and we'll be calling them doctor. Right. The question we're saying is this: it is time for us to shift emphasis from this certificate. Look, God has deposited talent on everybody, whether you go to school or not. Let's begin to, I'm not saying we should ridicule the academics. Right. Academics is good. Being learned is good. I went about 4 schools. But being age with understanding with my research work, I'm beginning to see now that there's a high depository of knowledge. Look at people who have made it today. Look at Bill Gates. Look at the quite a lot of people who have made fantastic inroads. Yeah. Some of them, did they drop out of school?
I know the funny thing about it is that most of the persons that also dropped out of school went back to complete their education. In some of the instances, look at Mark Zuckerberg, for instance, as well. He dropped out first to build Facebook, and then later went back to complete his education. But of course, we're going to have more conversation on the issues surrounding fake certificate in Nigeria after this break. Do stay with us.
We cannot have in our midst people who procure certificates, fake certificates, and come to compete with our students graduated from universities and polytechnics through their sweat. Some spending 4, 5, 6 or more years. And going out to compete with people who simply prefer certificate right here without going anywhere for a lot of them. So what the FEC now approved is through the data which NYC has, about 21,684 students are parading fake certificates from the Benin Republic, obtained between 2019 to 2023. Togo, about 1,105. What the federal government approved is that any person, the central government will issue a circular to all employers, whether it is public or private, to fish out anybody with certificate from these institutions.
Glad to have you back on your most exciting TV station. Of course, you're still watching the Morning Rave. And right now, we're still discussing the trending issues, talking about the fake certificate saga going on in the country, Nigeria. And we are being joined right now by the proprietor of Kidem Porters International School, Omole Oluwa Dare Clement. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, before you came in, we were having a conversation, and the first question I threw to my guest here, Dr. Kenny, is what prompted the Nigerian government, first of all, to begin the investigation of fake certificates into various ministries?
Okay. Generally, in educational sectors in Nigeria, there's a lot of problem. I don't like looking at it from the angle where government is looking at it.
Okay.
But we look at it from the root cause. Everybody wants to be liberated from their problem.
Mm-hmm.
So people sort out how they could do it. Actually, when this thing started, by the grace of God, I've been in the business for about 30 years now. So, looking at the rate at which the universities in Nigeria are charging, and people always looking at where is the way out of their problem.
Cheaper alternative?
Yes. So I have some students that went for that. Their parents came to my office and I had to give them a counsel. Though I frowned at it, I felt, well, this time I backfire.
When you say some students that went for that, are you saying some students that went for fake certificates?
See, when we talk about fake certificates, we look at it from the angle that what makes this thing fake.
Mm-hmm. But let's get a clarity. Are you mentioning that the students that came to you for the council wanted to go for fake certificates? Or
want to go to university in the Cotonou, all these places we are talking about.
Okay.
They came, and I told them, look, it's good, but it has future implication. And I would rather advise them not to do it, but they are looking for a way out of their problem.
Okay.
Some of these places are charging about 150, 200,000. And the universities, even the federal universities in Nigeria are charging above that. And these people don't have the money, but they want their children to go to school. So the problem, the root cause of the problems is from within the Nigeria sector.
Let's talk about some of the criteria even. Okay, you have a reaction there.
I will differ a little bit. I would differ in the sense that there are quite some flexibility in the way we do tuition in Nigeria.
Okay.
And you will see now that is the crave for importance. Is the crave that, you know, the people have attached too much of sentiment to the university degree. And also because of the rot in the educational system, because of the level of interference, because of the quota system, many people have been deprived opportunity to enter university in Nigeria. Take, for instance, let's look at how people do about JAMB. They will say cut up 140. Do you know in some places in the north, they even take as low as 150? I'm being sincere to you. The question now is this: when it is because of our quota system that introduce a lot of dichotomy, a lot of issues within the scale, because many people who are supposed to have opportunity, who should have given opportunity in Nigeria to go to school, are deprived because of quota system, because they have to give quota to some people. So when you now come, some of them have certificates, they have good certificates, they won't be able to go because of quota system. And more so, if we are talking about fake certificate is not new. It has been with us since WAEC days and GCE. They've been 40. I can tell you authoritatively, at least I went to about 4 schools and I'm quite of it. I'm in my 60s.
Yeah.
So I understood it and I've been involved in academic for too long. So what we're saying is this: yes, we might talk of inability to pay.
Yeah.
You understand? But most of these universities, they do crash program. Some of them, they go there. So I know people who went degree in 6 months.
But the crash program, is it cheap?
No,
Still
crash
expensive?
program, because one, some of these schools are not authenticated. They are not even they don't have accreditation in the same, like most of the schools in Benin and Togo. Even the government of the country do not accredit them. They are not even listed in the school.
But again, let me come to you now. Okay. Most of these schools, basically in Benin Republic and in Togo, is it possible that Nigerian students do not even know about, the fact that they are not maybe accredited or recognized, and then they decide to go there to study?
Yeah. Some of those schools, actually, I read the details about them.
Okay.
And I discovered that even within the Benin Republic and the Cotonou, these schools are not accredited.
Okay.
But you see, informations matter. Most of the Nigerian students or Nigerian parents felt, oh, let the student just go to school, which is where the problem is. It's not going to school, but you need to find out. So most of the Nigerian parents do not find out what is exactly going on. Are these schools recognized? Are they accredited? Nobody cares to know that.
Okay.
They felt, oh, it's very cheap. And at the same time, like, for instance, like nursing. One of the students in my school went for nursing at Cotonou. And the nursing, you are going to spend about 5 years here. She spent 3 years.
3 years.
And she came back. And then, I don't know how it's being done. You are going to discover that they will go for NYC here.
Yeah.
And they have some accreditations, some programs, and then you're going to practice it.
Now, earlier on, you wanted to, define what makes a certificate fake and legitimate. Let's get your thoughts there.
Good. Actually, from the point of my view, I discovered that when you talk about fake, it's when the university is not being accredited, you talk about fake. But mind you, even those that are accredited, even within Nigeria, it's possible for you to walk into any universities and get it. You get me? I went to University of Lasso. I run 2 programs.
Okay.
But you see, even the program I used about a lot of years to run, some people can walk in some other universities and still obtain the same certificate and work within the system because our system is very porous. So to now define fake is very, very, very deep because it depends on who is defining it.
All right, Dr. Kenneth, please.
Well, we can define, there is a way we can look at being fake.
All right.
Because there's always a forensic audit of some of these things. Their embossment. Like if you do a 3D analysis, there's a separation of colors you can do. So if you have certificate, whichever institution you bring it, we can do. Because you see, there's software. In forensic investigation, there's software now. Quite a lot of other, because most of all these certificates we're talking about, they are in the cloud now. They are in the cloud.
Yeah.
So if you have your certificate, they only need to do imaging. You know, if you have a certificate, they can separate the image from the background. The problem is always the background. You know, you can imprint anything on any certificate, but the background is what really changes. Because anybody can. We're talking about fake. There is fake. There have been fake in Nigeria. I left in the 80s. There have been fake in Nigeria. I left university in early 80s. There have been fake in Nigeria. Even up to today. So even what I challenge as it is true. For instance, the former, I will say the former Eco Disco, Sander, he had a PhD in the Republic of Benin. The question we're saying is this: Oyuke Okereke had professorship. The question we're asking is, how did they come about being recognized? They went to serve. Are we saying now that every time they can? Why? The question: why are we just waking up now? The problem I have is that no, those people who are even eager to do are also guilty. What I say, if the federal government really want to do, let us declare state of emergency. Let it first start in the legislative house, because all of them, I'm not saying all, sizable number of them, they will go and get court injunction not to go into it. If you come to public service, you see the outcome, the result of our public service, the result of legislature should give everybody, source of worry. Look at us. What is the level of productivity in Nigeria now? Let me tell you, it's below 35%. Productivity below 40% of what we're saying. What is the productivity?
Let's talk about the significance of fake certificates in Nigerians' workforce and what are the potential repercussions for the affected individuals.
Okay, it has a lot of repercussion. And see, let me just come from the point of my own profession as a teacher. Imagine, there was a case in Lasso, a student that, want to enter into universities and has Arand,
Okay.
in science, physics, chemistry, and other. And the teachers, he was to be interviewed. And they asked him, what is 1 raised to power 0? And he found it difficult to answer.
But he had an A there.
Yeah, but he has an A in the mathematics.
Okay.
Now, that is the foundations already is. Now, the effect of it is we are going to be having problems in the Nigeria sector.
Yeah.
Now, all these people will be fixed into one place or the other of their economics. And they won't be able to perform up to the level they ought to perform, and thereby giving us, the same problems we have been having. We won't be able to have people that are capable enough who can solve the problems of Nigerian economy. So, even as we are talking about now, most of those who are in the government sectors, they have all these things we are talking about, and that's why they have not been able to perform. That's why they have not been able to perform. Okay. Because if you are to check all their, let everybody bring us your certificate, let's begin to look at it from the top to the bottoms. You are going to say a lot of people will be guilty.
Okay.
And the sectors, there's something how to flush out a lot of people. So if we are going to start these things, we start from the top.
Right.
And then we drive it to the
bottom. Let's talk about the ethical standpoint. What does this situation say about the importance of educational integrity in Nigeria?
The educational integrity is highly compromised in Nigeria. That stems from the fact that what is the outcome of education? Look at it carefully. Education has really gone down. We can't even. There's no qualitative education any longer. We only have mass production of people, where somebody will be having BSc in law. You understand? Where some people have gone out to university, they cannot even construct English. Make a constructive criticism. Look at what is happening all around. My brother was talking, look at the output of what is happening. Look at currently. Look at the level of productivity in the public sector. Look at the quality of bills that are being passed in the house. So the question, look, we're a third world country. We're not a developing nation. We're a third world country. That is the way we are. And that's them for the fact that we always have round peg in a square hole. Some people are not, you see, that's why we have problem. How won't we have problem? Look at even the performance of the so-called minister that we are having now. When they begin to discuss, only thing we hear is 8-point agenda. That's all. The question now is this our underdevelopment. some Nigerians, you see, the best brain you can have in this world, that is in this world that God has gifted, is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Go to all the part of the world, you will see Nigerian excelling. But why, the question I now ask is this: why is Nigeria now backward? When most of the people that are driving developed economy, there's no way you won't see any Nigeria. But come to Nigeria, we are in a third nation. The question now is, it means now that he who dictates the paper, some of the people who are in position of authority are also conscious and guilty of it. So there's a need for us to declare state of emergency on you, because this thing has legal consequences of what we're going to do.
Right.
Look at the losses, look at everything we have done. As of today, we are being dragged backward because of the efficiency level.
All right. Let's talk about candidates below 18 years who will no longer be allowed to write JAMB from 2025. Do you think this is a good way to go in the Nigerian education system?
Well, let me give you a straight answer. Before I explain it, no.
Okay.
We don't have system that wrong. The system is not being, somebody said when that the law came up, somebody said it's a matter of 1 or 2 years and the thing will be forgotten. Because the systems is not a continuous, when these ministers live there, another one will come up and tell you and said, rubbish, and then wipe it off. We have a systems that should have been running. Today, whosoever you are, if you get to UK, you get me? No matter your level, the system is running. You don't start in schools until you are 5 years. It's there. So nobody compromise that. So here is anything goes.
But beyond the system, depriving young students who are below 18 years to write on a JAMB, which is going to lead them to get into the university, from 2025. Don't you think that to an extent limits young people?
If there is a system that is working, that wouldn't come up at all. Because you know that this is what the systems say. Whosoever you are, this is what is obtainable. You just fall in. If you leave Nigeria's systems and then you go outside Nigeria, why is it that most of us comply to what is obtainable there? Because we felt we cannot compromise it. We can't compromise it. They have written it down and everything is well stated. So if you want to come into this country, this is what is obtainable. And then you fall in. And then the system work for you. But here, this one come up today and bring up one policy. The other one come tomorrow and bring up another policy. That's why the people are resisting. And he said, look, your children have gone through the systems and then your children are all out. Why is it that it's now you just remember that it must be 18 years?
In some advanced countries, basically, people around 2021 already having their masters, working towards their PhD, right? And in Nigeria, a law is going to be passed that from 2025, at 18, you're not permitted to write JAMB. I'm still having an issue with that. Dr. Ken, let me come to you. Maybe just get your thoughts on that, basically.
My thought, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
My thought is simple. Look, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we are greedy, selfish, and self-centered. All over the world, there are provision for gifted children. You don't have to spend 30-something years before you go. They have gifted children. The question now is this: it's because we are living in that age. Some of the people who are in position of authority today in the legislative house, their children do school in Nigeria, and their children will enter school over there. We need a kind of overhaul of our curricular activity. We need to deploy technology to be able to understand what to do. We have quite a lot of people that you don't need to attend a functional school to have degree. Yes, I know people who are at home and they have degree. So it's not a function of being rigid about this. Our rigidity comes from the stem out of the fact that we're very shrewd. We're shrewd, we're corrupt, we're endemically corrupt, we're selfish, and this issue of quota system is the one that is riddling us.
All right, Mr. Clement, let me come to you again. Let's talk about long-term solutions, basically. What role should the Nigerian government play in regulating and monitoring foreign institutions that offer education to Nigerian students?
Good. My candid advice, number one, is that let's look at our own system and then make our systems to work. Once, see, education it should be the right of every child. See, make it available. Let the environment be conducive enough for our children to learn. Once this is there, we won't have any problems. You know how many of the Nigerian students are traveling abroad on daily basis because they are seeking for a better place to study.
Right.
And so once they goes out, see what happened. They are being celebrated. Why is this in our own system is not happening? Let the government, you see, the whole things needs to be really, I don't know, work upon.
Okay.
And we look at where we are falling and really come back to the drawing board. And the whole thing, look at now the new curriculum is about being out again. Why is it that almost every 4 years we are revising curriculum and revising curriculum and revising curriculum? And then even when the thing is out, let me tell you, I'm in the systems, after 2 years, you will discover that most of the schools have forgotten the new curriculum. They are still using the old curriculum.
Who enforces even the curriculum?
Nobody. Who enforce it? Where is the apparatus to enforce it? We don't have things to enforce it. We only have things to, okay, this is where we are going, but nobody follow it up.
Yeah, Dr. Kenny, many Nigerians will say we need to improve our local educational system, basically, to ensure that Nigerian students are basically studying and getting effective education here in Nigeria. What do you also think that Nigeria can do, to ensure that our local educational system is being improved?
What we can do is this: one, we need effective collaboration. Look, why is it that today, with the level of university graduates, we're still very backward? The question now is this: we're talking about infrastructure. We're talking about the quality of training. Train the trainer, the teachers. We're talking of we're talking of digital technology. We're talking of good remuneration. As of today, as we say, what is the UN charter have changed. They advise we should have 27% of our budget to fund education. But what do we have? Even as at the last budget, is still under 10% of the budget appropriation. And under that 10%, that's where land-scale corruption will come. The question, go to some of our schools. They don't even go to primary school, go to secondary school. What they do, they now created the money. That's why private school will continue to thrive in Nigeria. Most of the curriculum, you can imagine, I left school in early 80s, engineering 80s. Go to some of these schools, have there been any change? That's the reason why you see now that only private school they've readjusted their curriculum. Things change. Education you do, you educate the mind, you educate the brain. But how our own is regurgitation. And my own thing is this: don't let us lay emphasis on academics alone. There should be two parts: professional pathway, academic pathway. Let's promote vocational school. We have a lot of local intelligence we could do. Even when you get a particular degree in your life, you still come back to the basis.
Very true. Of course, let me just get a concluding thought, Mr. Mole, on the certificate forgery saga. Your concluding thoughts. What do you think?
To round it up, I will advise that let's look at these things collectively, and so that we know actually what the problem is all about. Before we think of using the rod to hit the people, let's sit on a round table. How do we solve this problem? These problems of fake certificates? No. If you, just like what is being said, from 2017 till date, okay, everybody. See, a lot of things will be affected. There is need to set up a kind of a holistic committee that can look into it very well and say, okay, what can we do to help? Because most of the people that are affected, mind you, even after the law must have been enacted, will be the masses, not the guy at the top. So how do we do it so that we will not affect these people more? And then how do we stop it so that the trend will not continue?
Okay. Well, these are questions that basically are begging for answers. But again, this is how far we can take on the trending matters. And thank you so much, Omole Oluwadare Clement, educationist proprietor, Kidem Porters International School. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, sir.
Of course, right now,